Seconds out, round one.
So a late addition to the card, this fight. It's for the vacant International Masters Heavyweight title. And it features Larry OLUBAMIWO, or the War Machine, against Paul Butler. And we have a very early interruption here, as Butlin's gum shield has come out. I'm joined ringside by Colin Hart. That was a very stop-start beginning to the fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me that Butler's quite durable, but I don't see him lasting too long somehow.
Well, this fight added to the card when Frankie Gavin pulled up with flu in the week. OLUBAMIWO was supposed to be fighting Samir Kartajic, Eastern European. But Butlin came in as a late replacement. Well, he has got this reputation for being able to take a shot. He might need to. His opponent's got 7 stoppages from 9 wins, just 1 defeat on his record.
Certainly a big lump, isn't he?
Well, I guess the heavyweight scene is opening up a bit, isn't it, Colin?
Well,
domestically, yeah, Audie Harrison.
Oh, please, don't. We're talking heavyweight boxing here.
Well, Harrison probably finished. Danny Williams has retired, hasn't he? Matt Skelton's looks as if he's finished as well. It's a bit like 2 guys going at it on the cobbles here, isn't it?
Yeah, I just wonder if they were fighting on the cobbles, whether anybody would bother to stand and watch. I'm probably being a little unfair so early on in the fight.
Well, it's not quite Ali Frazier yet, is it?
Good job I got a good memory. That's coming up 40 years ago.
You had brown hair then, didn't you, Colin?
Sorry?
You had brown hair, didn't you?
I certainly did. The first World Heavyweight Championship fight I covered in the United States. It's imprinted on my brain, March the 8th, 1971. One of the great heavyweight fights. That was in Madison Square Garden, and 2 people died of heart attacks that night from the excitement. In the arena, I should say. But no, Ali Frazier, this ain't. Nevertheless, they're doing their best.
Well, we thought we were going to see a British heavyweight in action this evening in a title fight with Derek Chisora supposed to be fighting Vladimir Klitschko in Mannheim in Germany.
Yeah, of course, that's a shame for Chisora. But he's only 27, he'll get his chance again. But what is very interesting, of course, in Las Vegas, it is now just before 11 o'clock in the morning, but at lunchtime, Las Vegas time, Vladimir Klitschko's people are sitting down with Adam Booth, who is David Hayes' manager-trainer, to try and negotiate a deal for those 2, Klitschko and Hay, to fight in the spring. And with 3 world heavyweight titles on the line, Hayes' WBA belt and Klitschko's IBF and WBO belt. And if that happens, if they can get that on, it'll be the biggest heavyweight fight probably since Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson.
It will be big, won't it?
It certainly
As
will.
you said, he's going to have American TV, German TV, of course, British TV, plenty of money in the pot. Chisora's insisting this week, though, that the fight against Klitschko for him must go ahead. He says he's first in line. Hayes got to wait his chance.
Well, he's not a mandatory challenger. He's not first in line. It just depends what the contract says. But I'm sure he'll be amply compensated financially for having to wait his turn. And as I say, he's young enough to have a lot of time on his side. He's only 27, which in heavyweight terms is a baby.
Well, maybe he steps aside and gets a shot at the winner.
Absolutely. Can you imagine Hay and Chisora even?
Big fight over here, wouldn't it, domestically?
It certainly would. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously bitterly disappointed, but as I say, these things happen in boxing.
OLUBAMIWO, he's in the red shorts. Pushed out a decent looking jab there. This one's set for 10 rounds. Something of an air of a sparring session at the moment. It doesn't help when the crowd are sort of drifting in.
Well, there's not much interest with the public in this fight.
No.
So even if the place was full, I would think it would be watched mostly in silence. Until they see a knockout. Or if they see a knockout. I mean, Larry's supposed to be a big banger, isn't he? So his record...
well, that's, yeah, the reputation he's got. Sign with Frank Warren, perhaps. It's maybe with a view to fight with Sam Sexton, perhaps. Sexton, of course, lost to Chisora. It was a British and Commonwealth heavyweight title fight earlier this year in September.
Sexton's been beaten by him twice, hasn't he?
Yeah. Only losses on his record. It's got a decent amateur heavyweights coming through as well, isn't there, Colin?
Well, yeah, I mean, the pro scene, as you said, you know, we mustn't forget Dennis Price, who's got an unbeaten record so far.
David Price.
Sorry, David Price. Dennis Price, of course, was an actor. David Price, exactly. There's another kid called Antonio Joshua, who is only, what, teenager? Was he 20 now? Who's the ABA
He's the super
heavyweight champion, who I know wants to box for Britain in the Olympics in 2012, and expect him to turn pro soon after that, whether he boxes or not in the Olympics. And I'm told, I haven't really seen him except in the gym, but I'm told he's very, very good and has potential to be an excellent fighter. So, but as I say, he's only, if Larry, if some of these guys we call babies, well, he's only you know, a small tot.
He's supposed to be very athletic, isn't he, Colin? Very
yeah,
big guy.
Tall. He's obviously got a lot of filling out to do, but he's tall and very quick. And I've been down to the Finchley Amateur Club where he boxes in North London, and the coaches there, one is Spencer Oliver's father, and the other one is his uncle. I mean, they're trying to keep a lid on their excitement, but I know that they rave about this kid as being potentially going to be a great heavyweight. But like with all heavyweights, it's his heart and his chin that will have to be tested before we can make up our minds about him.
This one here is into the third round, turning into something of a wrestling match, really. Not too much in the way of action.
I mean, they both look clumsy, don't they?
OLUBAMIWO, he is trying to do more work, I think. Trying to take the initiative. There's not much pace to the fight at the moment. Trying to pace themselves, going 10 rounds here at fairly short notice as well.
Well, not for Larry. He knew he was fighting on the card, didn't he?
Well, he's only been on the card for 4 days, I think.
Is that all?
Yeah. So he came in when Frankie Gavin
right.
pulled out in the week. And Butlin's been given about 24 hours notice for it.
There's one thing about heavyweights, they don't have to worry about their weight, do they?
No. Don't look in too bad shape either, do they? Butlin could maybe do with losing a few pounds, but
you are kind, Ian.
Well, they're wrestling again.
It's not easy on the eye, this one,
No.
is it?
How do you rate the British heavyweight scene at the moment, Colin? Is it lowest ebb for years, or?
Well, yes. I mean, there was a period when we had. I'm going way back in the past, of course, when we had Henry Cooper, Billy Walker, Johnny Prescott, Brian London, Joe Erskine, all very good heavyweights, and they all fought each other, and no one avoided anyone. And there was always a lively heavyweight fight somewhere in Britain in those days. Even guys like Peter Bates, who could punch a bit. Well, on Dick Richardson, I forgot him. He was European heavyweight champion for a while. So there was a whole, clutch of very good British heavyweights. But that was a long time ago, unfortunately. I'm talking 1960s. Then, of course, we had Joe Bugner came along, and he kept the ball rolling for us for a while. After all, how many British heavyweights would have gone the distance twice with Ali and once with Joe Frazier? And then we had, I suppose, the next time we got excited was Frank Bruno, and then, of course, Lennox Lewis. There's always been someone on the British heavyweight scene who gave us hope of them becoming world champions. I mean, Chisora feels that he's capable of it, but I think he's got a ways to go yet.
Well, a bit more action in round 4 here. Suddenly got a bit lively in there. A fairly dull round 3. Both boxers now trading a bit of leather. OLUBAMIWO has gone on the attack a bit, and Butlin's responded.
But nobody's caught anybody clean yet.
No. Just as we began to get a bit excited about things, it's just settled down again. At times they resemble a couple of conscientious objectors, don't they?
Oh yes, a good right hand from Larry. Called him high up on the head. And down goes Butlin.
7, 8.
Now can Larry get his man out of there? Punch almost came from nowhere. It's opened up a little cut as well, I think, on the top of Butlin's forehead. Butlin now in trouble on the ropes, backed up. He is tough though. Maybe he's just seen out that little crisis. He took his time getting to his feet. The canny old pros trick of just buying as many seconds as possible.
Absolutely right, and a lot of youngsters who get knocked down because their pride is hurt, they jump up far too quickly and of course leave themselves open to get caught again. But he did the sensible thing. He stayed down for as long as he could until his head had cleared.
Butlin's just survived that little crisis on the floor early in this round. Larry's not really done too much since then, has he, Colin? Had a chance to get that stoppage, I thought.
Yeah.
Good little left hand around the corner. Just dropped Butlin's hands as the bell goes for the end of the fourth. Butlin on the floor and looking in trouble, but did manage to survive.
Yeah, that right hand that floored him was near enough on the temple, wasn't it?
Mm. Seemed to be that much behind it. It was almost on the back foot.
Oh, I don't know. That was a pretty. I thought that was a pretty good punch. Because they're the ones that disorientate you. Those ones on the temple. Sometimes they have a more serious effect than they do if you get hit on the chin.
Bonus 10 seconds. Second out, round 5.
So back with the action in round 5. Good start here from Larry. Again, Butlin gets caught flush. Wanting to take too many of those shots, full on the chin. Not too much action so far in this round. Both boxers just taking their time here. Frank Warren's 30th year as a promoter this evening. You've been to many of his fights, haven't you, Colin? You didn't speak to him for a while, though, did you?
Not long, 9 years. We had a little difference of opinion. Lasted 9 years, but that didn't mean I didn't do my work and go to his press conferences, and when I asked a question, he answered it. But we had no social contact for 9 years. And now I'm glad to say that we consider each other as friends. I mean, that was a long time ago. And as you say, I've seen him constantly in the last 30 years. And watched him grow. I've written the notes in the program about his 30 years in the business, and I said when he had his first promotion, on his own admission, he said he could have fired a cannon in the Bloomsbury Crest Hotel that night and not hit anybody. And now, of course, he can be. His name is used in the same breath as Don King and Bob Arum, the two giant American promoters. I would say Frank is the third largest promoter, certainly the largest promoter in Europe, even though he hasn't got the Klitschko brothers, and one of the most influential promoters in the world. When you think of the people that he has brought from the ground floor to the penthouse over the years, you know, the Joe Calzaghes, the Ricky Hattons, the Nigel Benns, Amir Khan. Go on and on and on. You know, he's provided British boxing with a tremendous, you know, conveyor belt of terrific fighters.
And often your one's influence as a promoter doesn't rest with who you have in your stable, does it? It's your contacts in the world of TV and media, and
that's right.
Frank's always had very good contacts there, hasn't he?
Sure. And also, I must add, although they never get mentioned, he has a pretty good staff around him to help him, and most of them have been with him for many, many years. And so there's loyalty there on both sides, and it all's produced a very good team down at his HQ in Hertfordshire, Hertfordshire.
Well, we're just halfway through this fight, round number 6, and referee Terry O'Connor's given both boxers a lecture before the 6th round started. I don't know what exactly was said, but imagine it might have been, Colin. Come on, guys. You're here to have a fight, not a tickling contest.
Yes. And that's what the Puerto Rican referee said on the night of the Hay Harrison fiasco. But after all, that was for the world heavyweight title. And these are two, or shall we say, late substitutes.
OLUBAMIWO has come out firing, maybe after that lecture, as a result of it.
But he's comfortably ahead.
Well, he had the benefit of the knockdown as well, didn't he?
Yep.
Not much by way of action, really. Seems to start every round quite positively, doesn't he, Colin? And then sort of drifts into a bit of indifference.
Yeah, well, that could be due with the fact that, as you say, they came in at 4 days' notice. And they've got to see through 10 rounds, conserving their energy.
So as we mentioned before, this fight added to the card when Frankie Gavin's intercontinental fight with Dean Harrison went by the wayside in the week. Gavin went down with a bit of flu. And that's the theme of the evening, was the return of the Magnificent Seven. Frank Warren needed 7 title fights for his card. And OLUBAMIWO, so a relatively new signing to the Warren stable. Jumped at the opportunity, a chance to impress in front of even now is a fairly large crowd here at the Liverpool Echo Arena. About for 7 o'clock in the evening. How many would you say are in, Colin?
Oh, about 2,000 or 3,000 maybe, a couple of thousand certainly.
I've heard rumours that the show's sold out this evening, and it will be a capacity crowd here at the Echo. Maybe 11,000.
Well, if it's not quite a sellout, there'll be certainly a very large, noisy Scouse crowd here. And I think they're here mainly, apart from the fact they've got an entertaining evening ahead of them, but the fight they're here to see is the local boy, Paul Smith, defending his British super middleweight title against James DeGale. That has captured the imagination of the Liverpool public. And a lot of people in the media like me. I'm intrigued by the fight. DeGale having had only 8 pro fights against a man who's had 30.
Under ordinary circumstances, Colin, it would be on paper, Smith would be a huge favourite, wouldn't he, with the amount of experience he's had, and DeGale just those 8 fights. But the fact that DeGale's won that Olympic gold really begins to sway things back in his favour.
Well, although he's only had 8 professional contests, as an Olympic champion, he had, leading up to those Beijing Games, He had a tremendous number of international contests, and that is worth 10, 15 pro fights in itself. So he's more experienced than we give him, a lot of people give him credit for.
OLUBAMIWO again on the offensive here at the start of the 7th. He seems to have a good minute at the beginning of the round, and then it just turns into a wrestling match. Good double jab there. He finds his head under the left arm of BUTLIN in a bit of a headlock. Now they're just cuddling, aren't they, Colin?
Yep. Yes, it doesn't exactly grab you, does it? I mean, BUTLIN is there really just to survive, isn't he?
He is.
Although suddenly he bursts into some form of life, tries to fight back with both hands, but now he just ties him up again.
Good for insomniacs, this one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you don't need to buy Horlicks if you watch the tape of this every night.
I guess it's hard to bring British heavyweight prospects through, isn't it, Colin? Because there's not much to test them in the domestically. You always run a risk if you bring in an American opponent, or.
Well, they don't do that anymore, do they, like they used to?
No.
I mean, they find them all now from Eastern Europe, who I can only presume aren't that expensive.
Tends to be cheaper, doesn't it, in Eastern Europe?
I mean, to have people fly over from America, they've got to be in the country several days to acclimatise and get over the jet lag, and it becomes very expensive. What with their purse and the expenses of travel, hotels, food, etc., etc. It's much easier to find somebody in Europe to get on a train if necessary.
So the 7th round, not too much action to report. I've seen some highlights back here on our monitor in front of us.
They managed to find some.
No, it's I think it's going to be fight of the year, this one.
Bonus 10 seconds. Sent out. Round 8.
We see that positive intent at the start of the 8th. Oh, BUTLIN's in trouble here, and down he goes. And it's all over. Oh, BUTLIN's very upset. He hurls his gum shield to the floor. A few expletives as well. Maybe Terry O'Connor has seen enough, Colin.
Well, he's probably so far behind, but nevertheless, the stoppage, I'm sure, wasn't because BUTLIN was in serious trouble. I mean, he got knocked down again, but he wasn't in distress. I thought, I mean, I don't condone what he did. Obviously, shouting and swearing around the ring, but I could understand him being annoyed.
I see the knockdown here.
It was a long punch.
He was obviously hurt, wasn't he? He went down.
Yeah,
But he no, it wasn't a.
he cut up straight away. He's not dazed. He's not all over the place when he got up. He got knocked down, and we see fighters get knocked down all the time.
I wonder if Mr. O'Connor was just so fed up with things that he.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably a mile behind. He thought there's no point in him going on him, and he didn't look like stopping Lowy, did he? So, you know, but I can understand the boy being upset. They don't like getting stopped. It means he can't earn you know, he can't spar for 28 days, even.
Ladies and gentlemen,